Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today is a video that has literally killed me trying to film. Couldn't find my tripod, couldn't find my lens, couldn't find my camera, couldn't find everything, couldn't find the time, couldn't find the energy. But we are finally here to talk all things birth plan, birth prep for my second home birth. I don't have a video on like planning or prepping my first home birth, and I don't have my birth story up either. It was really great, altogether a very positive experience. There's like nitpicky things that I am going to hopefully change with this next birth, but we'll talk about that a little bit more when I go into like my birth plan. I think that the more important thing than a birth plan is how you're preparing your mind, body, soul, the environment that you're birthing in. Like all of those things are going to directly impact your birth experience, and they're going to help or hinder you having the birth that you are hoping for. I think I am gonna take this off. I just feel like I look a little broad in it, especially with the belly down here. Here's my bump date. Oh my gosh. What if I take you out and take my camera out? Look at that. Isn't that so crazy? I'm 35 weeks yesterday. Hold on. And it takes me 5,000 years to get into any position ever. I tried to go from like my right side to my left side last night. I sounded 105. I was like, oh. You have to like fling yourself over to the other side. Everything hurts. And then you settle down on that side and you have to pee. I feel like with Arthur, I hit that like really uncomfortable stage probably maybe around the same time, but I feel like it was a little bit later, or I could like tolerate it more. But now, you know, I'm co-sleeping with a toddler. It's my second time around. It's warming up. I just don't have the capacity for it this time, and I'm really feeling like, okay, you can get out of here whenever you want. All right, let's talk about what I'm doing to prepare. I feel like there's two different categories of preparation I'm doing. One is personal preparation and one is practical preparation, or at least that's kind of how I split them up in my head. Because the personal stuff, it's not necessary, but for me it's necessary, especially after my last experience. I was very like holistic minded. I am very holistic minded, but I have also started kind of taking care of myself a little bit more and getting dressed every day, putting on makeup. I went through a really long no makeup phase, not doing my hair, not getting my nails done. And if that's your thing, totally fine. I felt like because I was a home birth mama, it's a crunchy mom, I felt like I had to embody that role so that anybody looking at me on the street would know I'm a crunchy mom. That's just not true. You can look however you want and have whatever birth you want. And I'm embracing that this time around. So my personal preparation is a lot of like beauty stuff. It's a lot of little things that I want that are gonna make me feel better in these end days of pregnancy and early postpartum, even if they're not necessary for me to have a successful, beautiful birth. Then the practical is exactly what it sounds like. It's more practical. So I guess maybe you guys will want to know the practical stuff, or maybe you want to know the personal. Maybe you want to know all about me. But let's start with practical, because I feel like that's probably why you guys are here. We'll start with practical so that we can just get the ball rolling on this video. The most practical tip I can give you for preparation, and the most practical thing that I'm doing, is getting my mindset and getting my head in the right place. And that's not just through affirmations. With a home birth, you are unmedicated, you got nothing but a comb, your doula, if you have one, your support person, and your midwife. There's no pain relief. Some people are weird about using the word pain. I don't care. It's not something that really bothers me or like gets in my head. No pain, no gain, right? And I'm gonna gain a whole baby from this pain. I need my mindset to be in the right place as I go into labor. I use a tool called TBM, or To Be Magnetic. It's not a birth program, but it is a self-hypnosis tool. They're like very manifestation oriented. And I started that when I was pregnant with Arthur. I find that it's very practical in helping me learn how to drop into the theta state, which is where your brain goes when you're in labor, in the birth portal. TBM is like the most grounding tool that I've used. I've used it, I mean, at this point for years. I love it. It is well worth your time and money. Check it out if you want to. But that's my mindset tool of choice to make sure that I know and my brain is familiar with dropping into a meditative state. You cannot stay in your conscious mind the whole time that you're in labor because your conscious mind might freak out. You might be panicking in that space. And yes, you can find that meditative space for the very first time in labor. People call it a trance. People call it labor land. There's lots of different titles that we throw around for this space, but it is moving past your subconscious and dropping into like a deeper level, a meditative state. We naturally find ourselves in that place as we're waking up in the morning and as we're going to sleep at night. If you know that that's the place you need to be for labor and there's tools that you can use to practice getting into that place, use them. Mine is TBM. You can find guided meditations, all sorts of stuff for free on YouTube. I've also been taking pretty frequent baths. I do like a warm bath with some Epsom salt. The magnesium in Epsom salt is so good for your muscles. So if you're having like restless leg syndrome or you find yourself just having a hard time falling asleep at night, chat with your provider. I take a magnesium supplement and I also take magnesium baths pretty frequently. And it's great. They have no problem with me doing that. It just helps relax the body and it helps me again release and relax and prepare, and I can let my mind wander. It's just warm and calm and quiet. I like to turn off all the lights, light a candle. Sometimes I'll like put on binaural beats. Sometimes I'll do a meditation. Whatever I'm feeling in the moment, I'll just chill in the bath for a little bit. Plus it feels so good when you're so pregnant to like take a little bit of that pressure off of your belly and body and your hips. And again, practicing relaxing. It is worth taking the time to practice, even if it feels like a waste of time. And laying on your phone in your bed when you're tired is not the same thing as intentional rest and relaxation. I categorize my purposeful rest and relaxation where it's a mindfulness practice, really. That's way different than zoning out on my phone, and it's different than sleeping. So there's like 3 different categories. If you're pregnant and you're on TikTok or Instagram, you are probably seeing stretches that I do to like get my body ready for labor and all of those things. Stretching is so good for you. No one stretch is gonna like put you into labor, but there are optimal stretches that you can be doing in your 3rd trimester to prepare your body for the labor process and just get things moving in the right direction. Definitely look for a professional and someone who is familiar with and maybe even certified. I don't know all the certifications out there, but I'm sure that somebody is out there with a proper certification for prenatal stretching. Don't just follow any stretching routine or any workout routine, just in general, but especially not when you're pregnant, just to make sure you're not accidentally putting yourself at risk for injury because your ligaments are super soft right now. I'm also gonna do some simple and easy meal prep. Nothing crazy, just a little too type B to go all out with the meal prep. I can barely handle making my dinner from night to night. I'm just doing what I can, saving some extra stuff here and there. I'll do a big Costco trip and then preparing some stuff for me to have in that first like week or 2 that will be easy to grab, easy to heat up. I'm not much of a meal prepper. I didn't do it at all last time, but I feel like I want to give it a go this time and see if it really makes a huge difference for us in that postpartum time, especially since we will have a toddler as well. And I'm also trying to be a little bit more purposeful about what I'm fueling my body with postpartum. And then these last few things do come with a disclaimer. There's a lot of videos out there that you're gonna see, drink this to start your labor, do this to start your labor, this is gonna start your labor. There are things you can do to encourage labor and to prepare for labor, but I truly don't believe your body goes into labor until you're ready and your baby is done cooking. If you're having a regular pregnancy and a regular experience, you can assume that your body will go into labor when it's ready. I start these things around like 36 or 37 weeks. They are not in an attempt to get my body into labor, just to give my body optimal time to prepare and nutrients and what have you, all of the things that could potentially be beneficial for my body when it decides to go into labor. I'm adding that disclaimer because I know somebody's gonna be up in there saying, don't do that, it's gonna start your labor. I'm not concerned about that. Around 37 weeks, I started doing an evening primrose oil up the cooch. You take the little pill, it's like a little capsule. And so you take your evening primrose oil capsule. My midwife told me to just stick a pin in one end and then pop it up there. I forget why. We did it. We used it as lube. We did all of the things and it didn't hurt anything. So I think I'll probably do that again because I did it last time and it seemed to be fine. Then I've been brainstorming like a electrolyte, hydrating, refreshing iced tea situation with a raspberry leaf infusion. With raspberry leaf and with really any herb, the longer you let it steep, the more potent the extraction is gonna be. I put a bunch of tea bags into some hot water and I let my raspberry leaf tea steep for a very long time. Some people do like 12 hours for an infusion. With my first batch that I did to start experimenting with my beverage, probably did like 25 minutes so that I could start mixing it into an iced tea situation. I will start drinking either just cups of raspberry leaf tea or an iced tea concoction whenever I want. And then the last thing, food-wise and practical preparation-wise, is the dates. I think it's insane to eat 6 raw dates every single day. I'm not a date lover, so that's just not for me. But I've been seeing date brownie balls on TikTok, and so I think I'm gonna try making those. We're gonna try that. I'm gonna try to consume dates. No promises. That kind of wraps up my practical preparation and the things that you guys are probably kind of anticipating from this video. Let's move on to my personal preparation. That is just the extra cherry on top, sprinkles on top of the things I want to do for myself. Some of these things are already in process, and the number one thing that I wanted to do while I was pregnant, like towards the end of my pregnancy, was get my hair done. I don't know if you've noticed, I've got a full highlight. I have not done my hair in ever, basically. The last time I did my hair was in high school and it was such a bad experience. I don't even have photographic evidence of the disaster that I went through the first time I got my hair bleached. It was supposed to be a balayage. I ended up with like a cake batter yellow situation. It was bad. And it literally scared me for almost a decade. And I finally broke through that fear and I was like, I am getting my hair done so that I have something fun and fresh and new that feels just exciting and like something to look forward to throughout my pregnancy and something that still feels new and fresh for me postpartum. And then I also have started getting my nails done, and especially pedicures. I stared at my feet for a while with my first birth because I ended up on my back pushing for 2 hours, and I was looking at my own feet basically the whole time thinking, damn, I can never do this again. This is one of those things that I was prepping my husband mentally before we even got pregnant. I was like, next time I have a baby, like I'm getting pedicures bi-weekly for a couple months leading up to my birth, just so that my feet feel cute and they feel not heinous. And if I end up staring at them for a long time, at least I'll have a cute little color on there and I'm not looking at my just bare toes. That was like a non-negotiable for me. And of course, my husband, ever understanding, said, sure, honey, whatever you want. Additionally, fake tanning. I have been fake tanning pretty consistently for about 2 months at this point. Oh my gosh, it has done wonders for my self-esteem. Just feeling tan and cute, especially I'm wearing black today, but I've been wearing a lot of like bright springy colors. It's warm outside. I'm in Arizona. The sun is always shining, and fake tanning has come so far since my initial experience in high school. This is not a fake tan. This is burnt. Maybe you can see that. Today was day 3 at the pool. We're a little bit crispy, but I'm also pretty excited about like my freckles coming out. Real tan, fake tan, whatever it is, I'm going to be it when I'm giving birth. So that way my birth photos and my immediate postpartum photos, you know, I have that natural glow happening. The next thing on my list, cute pajamas. I have fallen down the rabbit hole of people who wear matching pajama sets, and I think maybe it's my age and my maturity level. I finally understand. I'm a big t-shirt to bed kind of person. That's the most comfortable thing for me, but I want to have a cute matching pajama set so that I feel put together walking around the house in my pajamas versus feeling like Adam Sandler walking around the house in my pajamas. Especially knowing that my parents are gonna be here, my friends will be in and out of the house helping us out. I don't want to be sitting around in like scrubby, gross clothes that I feel disgusting in. I definitely spoiled my own Mother's Day present. I'm pretty sure that there's pajamas waiting for me this weekend. but I asked for them specifically, and then I ordered myself a pair as well. So I'll have 2 cute pajama sets. So I have things that I can throw on, and I know that I'll be able to wear them postpartum and they'll be relaxing and comfortable. The other reason I really want cute pajamas is because I want cute photos. And you don't really get cute photos when you're in scrubby clothes. And I learned that the hard way with my first baby. I have very few photos that weren't taken by me. I'm a photographer. I take all the pictures of other people. I was postpartum. I forgot to ask for people to take pictures of me. I didn't really think to purposefully take pictures, even as a photographer. Kind of just went to the wayside. And I wasn't thinking about it. This time around, I've got a Pinterest board with photos that I'm inspired by. I've been preparing my husband. I want all the cute PJ pics. I want the snuggly pictures. Especially now that it's our second baby. We have a toddler. I want those memories captured for the both of them to have as they grow up. So I've been planning out the photos that I really want and just like letting my husband know so he has an idea. These last 2 things kind of go with both the personal and the practical preparation. But having everything accessible, so like I have my birth kit and all the stuff that I need for my home birth, that will be out and accessible for my midwives and anybody who needs it. But additionally, I'm going to have my cameras, my speakers, my headphones out and ready to go and accessible. Like as soon as I feel early labor coming on, I'm gonna make sure that those things are in reach and my husband and my doula know where to find them. I'll probably just put them out on my dresser so there's no confusion and there's no scrambling to search for stuff. We ended up having an incident with my first labor where our big speaker that I was gonna have in here while I was laboring, I made my labor playlist, all of that. It was connected to my laptop. And then we were trying to connect it to my phone, or my husband was trying to connect it to my phone, and it kept connecting to my laptop. And so it was like a technical issue and he had no idea that it was happening. And by the time we were trying to get it set up, I was in active labor and I had lost the ability to speak. I managed to muster out, I don't care. At that point, it didn't really matter to me. I didn't need the music. I was totally in the zone. But this time, I'll make sure that there's no technical difficulties. And when I'm in early labor, I'm utilizing that time to make sure that the stuff that I want available to me and the stuff that I want access to is accessible. And honestly, having all of those like personal preparations and those little extra touches, I have felt so much more special to myself this time around. Obviously, the people dear to me have made me feel special from the moment we found out that I was pregnant, and they made me feel special during my first pregnancy. But I really had some hangups around putting myself first with my first pregnancy, and it made it really hard for me to indulge in these things that didn't feel necessary. There was almost like a feeling of I have to prove to myself that I don't need anything extra. I can just birth this baby with nothing but my own body and mind. And I did it and I rocked it. I proved it to myself, and now it's like, okay, you don't have to be up on your high horse. You don't have to prove it to anybody else. Like nobody else was looking at me and asking me to prove myself in having a home birth. But I do think that there's a lot of people who kind of roll their eyes when you tell them you're having an unmedicated birth. That's what you're planning. You're planning a home birth, especially with your first baby. Oh my gosh. My friend just texted me that she had her baby. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. We got a little bit sidetracked because one of my friends just had a baby. Now let's get into the last part of the video, which is my birth plan. And I know the internet feels all types of ways about a birth plan. They hate to hear it. They discourage women from having them. I think that's freaking dumb. You deserve to have a birth plan. You deserve to have the birth that you want. You deserve to know what that looks like and to have your ideal perfect birth. And you cannot hold it with an iron fist. You cannot force your body into the box of what you want. While you can do all the preparation in the world, there's always something that could come up that you didn't expect. My philosophy with a birth plan is plan for the worst, hope for the best, but also plan for the best. You can plan for more than one thing. And a good birth plan and a good birth team, they're going to guide you as you make decisions surrounding your birth and what you want during it before you're in labor. Another thing to note is that I'm not a medical professional. I'm just a woman who has given birth, and that's a valuable place to get information. But if you're curious about the process of physiological birth, I highly recommend hiring a doula. They are going to be able to walk you through the process, find someone who aligns with your birth plan. My doula is training to be a midwife. She's in the birth world, the unmedicated birth sphere, and in the community that I'm a part of here in Arizona. She's incredible. Her beliefs align with my beliefs. Find your doula that aligns with your beliefs and desires for birth, and it's going to make the process a lot easier because they are a wealth of knowledge. They have so many resources available to you. They'll be asking you questions and giving you perspectives that you never would have thought of otherwise unless you're a freak like me and you've been researching birth since you were like 12 years old. This is a freak thing that I did that I was thinking about the other day. When I was young, I would watch videos of dogs giving birth because I was so enraptured by the process of birth. I should not add that in. That's so weird. So with that being said, my birth plan is a place for you to get inspiration. This is all a place for you to get inspiration. The way that I'm doing things is not the way that things have to be done. They're just the way that I'm doing things and what I want. This is my channel. It's all about me. But I hope that you can take inspiration from it. And maybe there's stuff that you haven't thought about that I've put on this list of preparation and planning that you actually want to add in. Let it be inspiration, not instructions. And again, do your research. If you have a preference on something in birth, make sure you do your research and make sure you're listening to professionals. Make sure you're getting multiple sources, find multiple resources. Instagram and TikTok are wonderful starting places, but they're not the end all be all. My birth plan is pretty short because I really deeply trust my care providers. And so if there's something that comes up during my labor that I'm unprepared for, they know me very, very personally, and I know that they'll help me make the best decision in the moment. And I can trust my doula and my husband and my midwives to collaborate if I can't figure out my own answer. And I trust my husband and doula to like help me make those decisions. We'll just kind of go through the highlights of my birth plan. The number one thing that I'm doing with this labor is having an IV started when I go into active labor, and I will be doing anti-nausea medication and some fluids intravenously because I vomited my entire last labor with Arthur. I vomited for hours. That's not normal, but it can happen. It was incredibly physically taxing on top of being in labor to barf the whole time. Plan A is for us to not need it and for my body to not respond to active labor with intense and constant vomiting, but we're planning for that to be the case. And so I have an IV kit at my house, and when I'm in active labor, one of the midwives will come by or one of the RNs will come by and start my IV for me just to make sure that I have fluids in my body because I wasn't able to drink anything last time. I just kept throwing it up, and give me some anti-nausea medication through the IV so I can't throw it up. My midwife did tell me that that is not a guaranteed fix because anti-nausea medication, it doesn't work 100% of the time for all types of vomiting. Like if it's just a physical reaction that my body's having, anti-nausea medication might not do anything, but we're gonna give it a go. That is the biggest thing that we have talked about probably at almost every single visit. I don't wanna barf like that again. I've accepted that it might happen, but we're gonna be prepared for it and we're gonna try to mitigate it. Next thing is, of course, getting myself prepped in early labor for being in active labor. While I will continue to kind of go around my normal day, I'll make sure that I'm using my early labor time to do some preparation so that I have all my stuff accessible. We're gonna try using the TENS machine probably. I was in the bathtub when I went into active labor with Arthur. By the time I got out, I was too far along in active labor for the TENS machine to be relaxing. I just hated it. I will have access to a birth pool. My wonderful midwife is letting me use her white birth pool because she is my friend and she loves me. And the birth center has blue regular birth pools that we can rent, but she's letting me use hers because it'll match my room and look so cute in pictures. But I didn't have a birth pool with my first, and I'm really excited to have that for my second. I don't know if I will actually like give birth in the pool, but it'll be really nice in active labor to have that option. Like I said, went into active labor with Arthur in the tub, in like my regular bathtub. And then I I never got back in. So I'd like to kind of switch that so that I can utilize hydrotherapy and being in the tub later in my active labor rather than right at the beginning. This next one, like we've already touched on multiple times, I will be utilizing meditation to help myself drop into that subconscious state where I can just like release and surrender. My goal is to move as much as possible within reason. I'm not going to be sprinting around the house, but switching positions as frequently as I can to encourage baby to continue descending. But one of the positions that's like on my no-no list is side lying. I really injured my hip when I was in a side lying position because my hip wasn't like rotated properly. It was bad and I could not walk for like multiple days after I gave birth. That's on my personal list of things that I really want to avoid. And if I end up in a side lying position, we are gonna make sure that we are in a good spot with my hips and with my legs so that I can minimize the chance of re-injuring my hip. I couldn't stand, it was so hard. And that was the hardest thing for me postpartum, was not being able to like use my right leg. This time around, I also really don't want to push on my back. I ended up on my back last time because of a cervical lip and my midwife held it out of the way. I am going to elect not having it held out of the way next time around unless we try laboring down and it's not helping or it's inflaming my cervix. If I have a cervical lip, we're just gonna chill for a little bit. I ended up on my back pushing for about 2 hours because again, my midwife was holding the cervical lip out of the way and that was the best position for me to be in so that she could hold it. But I don't feel like it was the best position for me to be pushing in, at least not for that full 2 hours. I'd like to be in a couple different positions. And then the other thing is that I will have cold ice water ready to go, separate from some type of like electrolyte beverage. I couldn't eat anything like we've gone over because of the vomiting. I also couldn't drink anything. And I ended up getting a lot of coconut water. This is like not a very fun birth plan for everybody else because it's just like random shit. But I remember being near the end, T-minus 3 hours before baby came out. My mouth was so dry. I couldn't speak still. I like went nonverbal in labor. My midwife and my doula and my husband were trying to get any type of hydration into me because I'd been vomiting for almost 12 hours at that point. I had nothing left in my body. They kept trying to get me to drink coconut water. And that was the only thing that was available. And I couldn't say to them, please just give me ice water. So I just kept taking the teeniest sips of coconut water because it's like, it's kind of got that like sticky sweetness to it. And it was just like coating my mouth. It did not feel hydrating whatsoever. It's burned into my mind for the rest of my life, the feeling of sipping on coconut water after vomiting for 12 hours and then continuing to throw up and only having coconut water. I will have an ice water bottle available, especially if I'm throwing up, so that I can rotate between electrolytes and just ice water. Obviously, at the end of the day, my plan is to have my baby here at home comfortably with minimal to no intervention. Everything goes beautifully. I would love to have baby in the middle of the day on his due date. My mom comes in the afternoon of his due date. We are flying by the seat of our pants because my parents are out of state, so they had to book tickets and we're just hoping that baby's here imminently surrounding my mother's arrival. But I feel like on his due date would be so fun. I feel like that's really the gist of my birth plan. Obviously, we have a lot of contingency plans for if we do end up transferring. Like I said, I deeply, deeply trust my midwife and my doula and my husband to aid me in making decisions, especially if they're decisions that we haven't discussed until we're faced with them. Having a team that you know will make the right decision with you and help you and guide you towards the best decision for you and your priorities. I am able to release so much anxiety and control because I know if it comes to that, I'm in the best hands possible. And that's what I encourage for you, is to feel that way with your provider. Because if you feel that level of security and safety with them, it just lets you take a deep breath and it lets you plan for the best, and you don't have to hold on to your birth plan out of fear. You get to like hold it in your hands like this and your birth plan is this beautiful goal that you're working towards and everybody is helping you work towards and wanting you to achieve. I will add on, I suppose, a lot of people wonder what we're gonna do for childcare. There's a lot of different options for that, depending on whether we're at home or if we need to transfer to a hospital. We have multiple different plans for childcare. If I'm at home and everything's progressing normally, we'll have a support person here for Arthur, and their whole job will just be making sure that he's taken care of. He is welcome to come in and watch me labor and watch me give birth if he wants to. His support people know that that is his call, and they will be watching and paying attention to him to see if it's just something he's not interested in being present for. I don't feel any type of way in either direction. Some people think it's weird that I'm even okay with my child watching me give birth. I don't know, it's a normal part of life, and someday he might have a partner who gives birth and he might bear witness to that. And I think that it's really important to teach children that birth is normal and safe and make it a family event because it's his brother. You know what I mean? Like, it's his sibling who's coming into the world. And so if he wants to be there and be present and he's curious, totally fine with that. And then in the case that we transfer, we will make decisions based on who is available to watch him. But we are feeling pretty positive that that won't be an issue we run into, and Arthur will just be hanging out at home. We'll kind of also go on how I'm feeling and if I want him present or if I feel like I need to just be focused. If you feel like my birth plan has 50 million contingencies, it's because it does. I very much feel prepared for all of the different directions that birth can go. I'm okay with just letting it unfold, and the important things to me, like what to do with my child, what to do if we transfer, birth positions and things that I want to try while I'm in labor, trying not to throw up. Those are pretty set in stone, but we have a lot of different ways that we can shift those things to fit whatever is going on. I have a plan, but I'm not holding it tight. I like to compare birth and prepping for birth like a wedding. You wouldn't walk into your wedding day with zero planning or preparation and just say, let's see what happens. You have a goal for how that day unfolds, but you can't control the weather on your wedding day. You can't control other people on your wedding day. There's only so much that is in the realm of things that you have complete control over. And the same goes for birth. If you walk in with a plan and a goal, and you accept the fact that there's things outside of your control, you will feel way more at peace. And again, having a care team that you trust is going to make that a thousand times better. Knowing what to expect is going to make it 1,000 times more conceivable as you're going through the process. Having a support team that really deeply cares about you and your autonomy is going to make your birth way better. Because at the end of the day, you can have an unmedicated birth that is horrible, and you can have an unplanned emergency C-section that you feel really empowered by because of all of the different factors surrounding you and the trust that you have in yourself and the people who are helping you make decisions. There's no one size fits all. Take inspiration, not instruction from this. I've been talking for way too freaking long, so I'm gonna end it here, but I will answer all of your questions below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be vlogging my home birth, so if you're interested in watching the full behind the scenes vlog of exactly how it happens, real-time updates that I edit and post later, follow along for the journey. I'll be sharing all of that stuff. And then of course we are moving in a few months, very shortly after I give birth. So we've got a lot happening in the second half of this year. We're feeling excited, we're feeling ready, and I want you there with me. Subscribe. And thank you if you've subscribed recently. It's so nice to see my tiny little YouTube community start to grow. Thank you. My family just got home. I'm gonna go hang out with them, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.